All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shoal, and we'll talk about what is Dynamo and how can you use it in your workflow. We'll look at some examples and that sort of thing. And also, just we're recording the webinar, and then we'll upload it to our YouTube channel. So you're welcome to watch it again, etc., and share it with other people. All right. Okay. So that's basically the topic, Dynamo. A lot of people in the Revit and other software has actually starting to get to know Dynamo and what it's all about. But this idea is just to, or this webinar is just to give you a little bit of an overview of what it is and how to use it in your workflow. All right. So the agenda for today is just introducing the topic, how it works, Dynamo, giving some practical examples, and then looking at the future. You're also welcome to ask questions if you like, either in the chat box or simply just unmuting and asking. So please feel free to do that. All right. So right, so let's get going. All right, so just introducing Dynamo and what it's all about and what it is. Basically, it's initially a couple of years ago been created to import and export data from, in this case, Revit to other programs, including Grasshopper and 3D Studio Max, etc. Because Revit was built on a database, that was the kind of idea to export and import into other programs. And then Autodesk got hold of the gentleman that started this whole thing, and kind of it grew from there. It's then programmers have been adding nodes and information to this system, and it's kind of grown to kind of be a programming piece of software within software, various software now of choice. And there's many reasons behind it, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so you can use Dynamo to actually create from simple points in your model to complex geometry, documentation, automation, exporting, importing, and you can also create your own nodes and that sort of thing, but we'll discuss that in a minute. All right, so great new technology. It's been around for a couple of years now, and let's get going. Let's show you how it works. All right, so it's basically installed with Revit. So when you install Revit, it just kind of gets added. It updates. You can obviously update it by updating the Revit point releases, but it's basically inside Revit under the Manage tab, and when you open it up, it opens up another window above Revit or on top of Revit, and you can then start adding your nodes and your workflow into that extra little screen. That extra little screen allows you to, as I mentioned, adding the nodes. Now, the little picture that you see on the left-hand side, there's a category node and an all elements and account. And then now what you would do is obviously you'd have a task in mind, what you want to do. In this case, you want to kind of count all the objects in a certain room category in that little picture. So what you will do is you'll add a node from the menus and place it in your work area. Then and you'll, in the drop down, you'll select rooms in that case. Then you will add another node all elements in category, place that, and then connect them with a little wire. And that will then create a workflow. So it'll pick up all the elements from the category called rooms. And then the third little node that you add there is account. And that'll just, it's like a result or a task that it does. And you connect those as well to the middle little node. And it selects then all the rooms in your project and counts them up, producing a little preview of, in this case 91. Now that you can actually then use in further steps in your workflow, export to an Excel sheet, etc. Now, this is just a very simple little example, but it's basically stringing nodes together to perform a certain task. Now, what the beauty with this is once you've done it once, you basically save this and you can rerun that little node at any time in the future. So if you open project B, you just run this little script and it counts all the rooms in that little project B, and you get a different result maybe for that particular project. Now, it's a very simple idea, or not idea, but little program. These nodes also, as you can see there's a library of these nodes on the picture on the right, from creation, modification, or reporting on your project. So you can either use these nodes to create content. If you've opened a project, you can interrogate that project using, like the example on the left, counting all the rooms of that project, or you can, you know, do a combination of those, tasks. All right. Okay. So in a nutshell, obviously, we're just wanting to just give you an overview or an idea of what Dynamo is and how it works, and that sort of thing. Now, together with these nodes that's standard in the library, there's also packages that people have created using Python. It's a programming language, and they've kind of created these nodes that does a certain tasks. Obviously, with Python, Python links with the API of Revit, and it's a little programming language. Obviously, you need to learn that language to be able to program in it. And then you create these nodes. These nodes you can then package together if you'd like, and produce a package now for other people to use. It is open source, so there's others that you can also download that does certain things. I've seen Autodesk, a lot of these nodes that other people have developed. Autodesk basically, obviously, buys from them and incorporates it into Revit and into Dynamo, and it becomes natively part of the project program. So so it does grow, and it's based on the users that create these nodes. And I think in future these packages and all the nodes grow as time goes by. All right. Good. All right. So just to show you that there is other packages people have created that you can also use by searching for these packages. All right. Now, some practical examples that you actually can use. Now, the difficulty of Dynamo to learn it and to kind of get going with it is to, in your mind, you have a need to do a certain task. Now, if you and typically it is a time-saving tool. So if you're doing counting of rooms all the time, rather, investigate Dynamo, see if you can do it within Dynamo, just a simple task, and so you grow. Creating these scripts, saving them in your own library, and then so you grow and add knowledge to your Dynamo field. Now, some practical examples. in saying this, I just want to also mention it can be used, as I mentioned before, for space planning. It can be used for your design, what goes where. Um, uh, you can, based on the sun angles, that sort of thing, you can do modeling with these scripts. You can do documentation with the scripts. So there's a whole, it fits with your whole workflow, depending on where you want to save time. Now, obviously, also if you spend a day, just doing a certain task that could be natively done in Revit in a couple of minutes, then it doesn't make sense. So you target the time-consuming tasks within your project or your workflow, and look for solutions, Dynamo solutions, to solve those tasks quicker than doing it natively, like window door schedules or whatever. Takes a lot of time. Now, in this case, I've just uh, got a couple of very simple examples. So one is to change, room names to uppercase, on the left there. So basically, it just looks at all the rooms, tags, their names, and just change it to uppercase. And it's kind of like a little. There's 7 nodes, a script. You run it for each project, and all your names will be uppercase. So that's very easy and useful. Then there's the middle one. There is adding rooms to your 3D model. Basically, it's also 4 nodes. So it's basically just, these are examples that's on the internet. It's not that I've created, but it's just creating or looking at all the rooms, and adding them to a 3D model. Right, and on the right there is orient beams to a roof surface. So you've already got a roof surface, and then it creates those beams along the roof at certain intervals. And it's a couple of nodes that's strung together to create that particular modeling. Right, now on the other side of the spectrum, so these are very simple. The other side of the spectrum, there's a whole wind load generation uh, 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 use case that's also on a blog, uh, that Revit is used for, or Dynamo is used for, to see what load the wind actually generates on that building, and based on that load, obviously you'll do your make your decisions with the structure and that sort of thing. All right, so that's there's a blog later on, you can go and read up on that. It's a whole complex script and that sort of thing. All right, now on the future of Dynamo, there is Dynamo is used now for generative design. Now, what that basically is, it's you're setting up a certain constraints based on what you want. So you're setting up rules, and then you allow Dynamo to, based on those rules, generate certain results. It could be 3 results, it could be 300, it could be 3,000, and they all differ slightly. And you, as a user, can then select the one that you would want based on the parameters that that's critical to you. So meaning that maybe you have desks in a room, and you want those desks to face a certain angle, or there's sun coming in from outside, and you want to prevent glare. So all these factors you program into this system, and you then produce, based on the parameters, some results, and it will then give you the results. You'll pick the right one, and you can go over and create those desks in that scenario. Just a example, there's a company in the Nordics that has in this case, they've used Dynamo and generative design to produce 10 garage or like models. The image on the right there is as a parking garage models in 4 hours, so half a day. So they've got 10 results that they can produce or present to the customer in 4 hours. And obviously, just using these systems to produce, the parking garage, obviously the customer will decide which one he'd like, and together with the architect. So the idea here is to produce, let the computer produce what you would want to, present, and the parameters that you, or the rules that you define, obviously is key. Right. You'll also notice that Dynamo now is in other products like robot structures, Civil 3D, and meaning that if it's in Civil 3D, it's also in AutoCAD. AutoCAD doesn't have as many nodes as Civil 3D yet, but it should they should grow those nodes, and because it's all available in kind of AutoCAD and in brackets, people could create packages using the Python scripting to clip into AutoCAD and take it from there. But at this point, the focus is Revit and the hero products, as they call it, like Civil 3D, Robot, Revit, and so knowing Revit and Dynamo, you would be able to, and knowing Dynamo successfully, you could branch into a lot of other applications successfully, automating a lot of things. All right. Okay, so the conclusion, or just to look at what Dynamo is, and what I would suggest, in the future of Dynamo, it's a design and documentation tool that you can use to optimize and also automate workflows. The beauty there is you create the script once and you use it many times. And even if it's just kind of, if you start off just by looking at all the counting all the rooms, or even looking at all the room names and changing them to uppercase, it's a start. And get going with Dynamo. There's a whole open source learning experience on the dynamobim.org website, where you can go through a certain primer, read through it. They've got certain tasks there that you can work through, and the idea is to just get going with it, with Dynamo, and start somewhere, and it'll open up a whole new world with Revit. Just off the cuff also, or off this topic, I believe also a lot of bigger companies will employ people that are Revit or automated automation experts, so that they save time for the drafters and CAD operators to create these scripts for these other people. All right, so basically that's an opportunity as well, but that's just looking at the idea behind Dynamo, and how you can use it in your workflow to save time and money. All right, good. So thank you for attending. It's a short little webinar, but if there's any questions, you're welcome to ask in the chat box. I see there is a couple. Yeah, I see there is just a rather statement rather than yeah. All right, I'll research that as well, Paul. All right, thank you guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you then in the next webinar. And right, have a good day further.